You are listening to the Eskimo Empire Podcast, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network.
Sociable!
Sociable! Tink. Lovely. Welcome to the Empire. It's the Eskimo Empire Podcast.
Riley's in the shotgun, looking downfield, and then throws. It is up in the air to the goal line. Bounces. What a catch! What a catch by Duke Williams! Touchdown, Eskimos! Bryant Mitchell. It's going to be intercepted. Arjun Colhoun.
Mike appears to be a CFL encyclopedia.
Welcome back to the Turf District for another episode of the Eskimo Empire Podcast, brought to you by United Construction Company. Check out all the great builds they do at unitedconstruction.ca and check out all of our links and social media at eskempire.ca. I'm your host, Andrew, and to my podcast left is Mr. Sociable himself, superfan Mike.
Sociable!
Sociable! Tink. Lovely. We have
Still
to
tastes
actually.
great.
Oh, good Lord, that sucker punch tastes lovely,
Mm-hmm.
And still well needed, especially after yesterday. So,
You had one job, Winnipeg.
Well, how many times in the last few weeks have we said you've had one job and it's just never come to pass?
Well, no, Winnipeg did the week before.
I guess, yeah, they did. Yeah. Okay, we'll give them that. All right.
And the week before that, to be fair, they lost to us. So they did their job then,
So they did
too.
their job then. That's a good point. Yeah.
There we are.
No Commissioner Kay tonight as she is out not feeling so well, hopefully just ramping up so that she will be ready to go for Grey Cup week.
It is important.
I do want to say thank you again to everyone that voted for us the first time in the Twitter Awards.
And the second
finals. Yeah, that's true. The finals are coming up this week.
They
are. We will be reposting that for a little bit of vote love, please and thank you.
Yeah, I think there's 4 different categories that are go vote, and there's green and gold in every one. So it's
That's right. Yeah, there's a favorite team account, which is, of course, Eskimos.
They're going to win.
They should. There is us in the podcast account. There is the cheer team in the cheer account.
Definitely should be winning.
Sure. Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
And in the favorite player account, there's a one and only Batman.
Batman versus Derek Mitchell. Dennis.
Yeah, exactly. So Batman's going to lock that down for sure. So
Absolutely.
we could have a green and gold sweep in the Twitter awards at least.
Wouldn't that be all right?
I would be okay. Well, I don't know. We are in very, very tough.
We are.
Yes.
But I have faith.
All right. Well, I'm glad you...
Because you got to have faith.
I gotta have faith.
Oh, well, that's a fun little cut to put in there. All right. Now, fun and games. If you haven't watched the Periscope already this week,
Yes.
we showed our packs of CFPN trading cards.
Yeah, you know what? It's one of those things that this has been going on now for a couple of months.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
still not long enough.
No.
Yeah.
And, we got them delivered today, and we got to look them over and sort them out, put them into packs, and it's just a lot of fun. And just holding your own card in your hand was just a surreal moment.
It's pretty wild, yeah.
Especially since we are all such great athletes.
Absolutely. I've been saying that for years.
Yes.
I'm a great athlete I'm at least a good GM.
There you go.
Armchair.
Yes.
Yes, I'm good at that. So
I run a great wishbone.
That's right. That's right. If you were looking for CFPN trading cards at the Grey Cup this week, find your favorite podcaster or any of the podcasters of the CFPN network.
Even if they're not your favorite.
Yeah, even if they aren't your favorite. I mean, everyone, you can still talk to Ryan.
Sure.
It's okay. Yeah, it's fine.
You're like, hey, Ryan, give me a pack.
That's right. They will have some packs to give away. Now, remember, these are, we did this on a shoestring budget to get these together. So there's not a million of them, but there is a lot of cards out there. Find a couple of different podcasters and get a couple of packs. And
they may sell out every day because we're going to have them the Thursday, the Friday, the Saturday, maybe even the Wednesday.
That's what we're hoping, is to have some through all the time, and then we may not have them on us at that moment, and you have to catch us later in the week.
Right. So get them early.
Yeah, absolutely. I really do want to give credit to Jeff, who helped us with getting these cards printed.
A lot of help for a bunch of amateurs like us.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Jeremy for linking us up there from UCC, because I think it just...
Should give them a plug, maybe?
Yeah, you know what? It's like we talk about them here and there.
Yeah.
So, we'll put it in there. That's
sure.
fine. All right. Now, this is an Eskimos podcast, so before we start talking about all of the Grey Cup news, we better talk a little bit of Esks news, shall we? A couple of Eskimos made it to the Western All-Star team in Duke Williams and Darrell Walker.
Not a surprise.
No, not a surprise for either of those. Did it surprise you that Riley wasn't in there?
Yeah, I think being that he was, the fifth place team in the West, that's even though he was the top guy for combined touchdowns for a quarterback, for yards.
Yeah, rushing yards.
Yeah, and rushing yards as well.
Like all over, at the quarterback position.
I think had we made at least the top three, I think that he has a really good shot to displace Bo in this case. But you know what? You got to let the less fortunate people have it once in a while.
Nice. Well, he got the MOP. He got the MOP nom. Like Bo got the MOP nom. So give Riley the All-Star. Anyway, whatever.
That sounds fair.
And no Mondo either. Now, I mean, there was some stiff competition on those D-lines, and I'm not saying that the D-line choices were bad, but it was just weird not to see Mondo there.
Well, I think the issue thing is you have to give it to Duke being the top receiver in the league. Number 2 was Walker until he got hurt, and he was still in that top 10.
Right.
So it's those guys you kind of have to give it to them.
Right.
But as for a defensive lineman, it's really hard to quantify that for a defensive tackle.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, even though he was one of the highest defensive tackles in sacks, it's not about that necessarily, Right. I mean, so... They're just like, all right, well, he always gets it in their fifth place team, so we'll give it to whoever else.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Well,
we all know in our hearts that
I was just going to say, in our minds, Mondo, you are an all-star. That's right.
Absolutely.
Now, the other thing, I guess, awards-wise, Ryan King got nominated for the Jake Goddard Award.
Yes.
Now, of course, with his return from the injury that could have really been career-ending, much less season-ending, and all the community work he's been doing, and of course the King's Kids that he started this year with Kids Sport and getting some kids out onto the field.
Yeah.
Well deserved. I mean, Ryan's one of our favorite guys, so I love to see him getting nominated and recognized for all the work that he does.
You bet. It's one of those awards that could have gone to several people. I think Calvin McCarty is another guy that's an obvious choice for that award. But honestly, I mean, we all love Kinger. The work he does, he just throws his everything into all that he does, and it really shows in the field and off.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, on our last podcast, and I had to go back and look because I wasn't sure of the timing. We were asking about whether Moss and Sunderland are going to stay or not. Shortly after that, the team does announce that Moss is staying on.
Yes.
But there are some coaches that are leaving. Now, most of these, I think, are due to the new cap.
Right. I think most of the people that left, with one exception being our interim special teams coordinator, were more assistant positional coaches.
Well, exactly, yeah, because we had the special teams coach now was Dave Jackson, so now he is no longer. Wide receiver DJ McCarthy, the offensive and defensive quality coordinators, so that's Kelly Bates and Rob Payne. Right,
and these are guys that basically help out when they're needed, where they're needed. And it just means the offensive and defensive coordinators are just going to have to shoulder a little extra load. So, I mean, I think we've talked a lot about this since Carson Walsh left, that I think Maximic is going to be the guy that Moss has been grooming for this position. And he gave him a full year, maybe with some of that responsibility, but not without the extra full title, and probably not without the salary.
Probably not, yeah.
To be that offensive coordinator and see if, yes, you are indeed going to be ready for that position and that jump. And he's played with, he's coached with several teams. He's been around with Saskatchewan. He's a Saskatchewan guy that came to Alberta, and then he went to Ottawa, and he's back in Edmonton now. So He's a super smart guy, and you just saw him everywhere he went. He was with Moss, and the two of them were always talking back and forth. So I think this is, if it's his time, that's great. Let's get behind him and see what he can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I bet you have a hint for him.
Yeah, run the ball.
Thank you. You missed a word.
Yeah, I did. I'll let Dave Dickinson use that one.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Yes, run the ball. That would be very helpful. Now, the Esks then went on a signing spree last week, which is a little odd. But the big, one of the bigger ones for me is this new quarterback they're bringing in, Jeremiah Briscoe.
Right.
Walter Payton Award twice in Division I football, and just seems to be that combination of kind of throwing and mobile quarterback.
Yeah, you always have to have at least 5 quarterbacks at training camp.
Oh, for sure.
You're going to see the 3 week, more than likely, touch wood if Riley does come back. And I think we're feeling, the further this goes along, the more we're feeling that he's likely to come back. And,
right.
I keep hearing all the press now is throwing in that rectangle name.
Yes, yeah. Oh, I know.
And that's a little worrisome because last time they were throwing around names going to the rectangle, it did come true. And
to some degree, yes.
I mean, Jones, yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
So I still think it's a 2-horse race, but the fact that everyone keeps talking about it, is it this just trying to drum up a story because it's Saskatchewan and they get all the press, or is it where there's smoke, there's fire? I don't know. But again, assuming that Riley does come back, and we're probably going to see at least O'Brien and Zach Klein back. I don't know if Glenn is going to still be around.
Right.
Then you've got 4 with Briscoe signing. And then usually they've got a Canadian quarterback that comes for that 5th arm.
Right.
If you need a 6th arm, I know with Chris Jones we had 6 quarterbacks in camp with the Canadian. Then we will probably see one more signing, but otherwise I think we'll just stick with those 5.
Yeah, probably. And but it's good to see what new guys can do. I mean, Zach Klein is in that progressive. He's had a couple of years here to try and work on the game and kind of learn the game. So,
and this is his year to put up or shut up.
That exactly. So maybe another guy pushes him, right?
Yep.
So it's good to bring those guys in. Now, then there was a slew of signings a couple of days later with a few re-signings. So Shaq Cooper back, which is great.
A lot of PR guys that got released at the end of the season.
Absolutely. Jordan Robinson, Miles Schuler, they're all re-signed and back.
Yep.
But then they did add a defensive tackle, Tyler Baston, or Batson, I should say that properly. DL Jamar King, I should say defensive line. I keep saying a DL, but...
It's not like DL Hughley.
No. Defensive line, Kelsey Quarles. Defensive line, Shaq Riddick. Defensive back, Jalen Spencer.
We need more Shaqs, so that's good.
Well, it's going from Adarii to Shaqs.
Yeah, we had some Jordan, the Jordai.
We had the Jordai for a while.
Now it's going to be all the Shaqs.
All the Shaqs. Yeah, we got a lot of Shaqs.
Shaqs and Dax.
That's perfect.
Well, we might be losing a Dax. So.
It's entirely possible.
Yeah.
Now, I guess the biggest thing for me when I look at that list is that's a lot of D linemen.
It is a lot of D linemen. But, I mean, it's one of those things that everyone's getting older. If you can get some young, cheap guys, because it's a cap world, right? So you need to make sure that this is Brock's year to find some diamonds in the rough. I mean, we looked at our rookie crop this year, and no one really leapt out as, this guy could definitely win Rookie of the Year.
Right.
Now, some of that was due to injury.
Yes.
Some of that was due to just not getting the opportunities, but some of the guys did. Obviously, the guy we had chosen was Money Hunter.
Yeah.
Was our rep for Rookie of the Year, and really didn't have a great year. It's not one of those things that goes, this guy's got a shot. Right. And again, he was in and out of the lineup as well and everything else. I'm still learning the game. Doesn't mean he can't be a great player down the road, but for right now, I don't think he quite made it. But we're used to that, right? The last several years, we've had guys that either won Rookie of the Year or, we have a shot.
Yeah.
So I think that for Brock Sunderland, this is his year to find those guys that are going to be on the cheap salaries because they're a first-year rookie and still outperforming that contract.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, the other thing is I look at this lineup or this list and I just go, well, we're loading back up for camp. So, that's not a bad thing either.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't imagine anyone unseating Mondo next year. So that's not much of a worry.
Yeah.
But, Mike Moore, he was injured several times.
Yes. I think Serezna is a pretty good shot.
He's got a pretty
spot.
good lock for sure. So those two for sure. But again, Mike Moore had some problems. We had some other guys with Darius Allen. I'm not sure about the size of some of those guys, so if they're more of a defensive end, or we were pretty light on the end.
Right.
So we got ran on a lot.
Yes.
And other than like Mondo, who's just a big immovable block. It was, and we have our defensive tackles are very split.
Right.
If you notice, if you compare them to say other defensive lines, you'll see their defensive tackles are closer together.
Right.
That's just the scheme we run, and as a result, we're more susceptible to the run.
Right.
So, but if you can get some bigger guys in there to take up a little more room, then you have that less issue with it. So,
right. So that
we'll
might
see.
be part of it. Yeah, absolutely. So new names, we'll see, and another king as it turns out as well.
Good.
So we'll see. Can't have enough kings.
Return of the King.
So, of course. All right, let's take a really quick break here, and then we will come back and talk about the Grey Cup and all the parties.
Yes, please.
This is Bryant Batman Mitchell, and you're listening to the Empire Podcast.
The Eskimo Empire Podcast is brought to you by United Construction Company. As a full-service commercial general contractor, United Construction Company serves large and small-scale commercial, light industrial, and multifamily residential construction projects across Western Canada. UCC is a relationship-focused builder, forming a trust and respect that is at the forefront of their commitment to quality, value, and integrity. Visit their website at unitedconstruction.ca to find out more and support them as they support the Empire.
Get loud for me. Get loud for me. Get loud for me. Hands in the crowd, we tearing it down.
You can join the Empire online.
Find us at eskempire.ca.
Check out all the new blogs and then follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
For more history, follow at Esks History on Twitter.
And even more of my pics on Esk Empire Photo.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to help the pod grow. Thanks again for listening. Let's get back to the show. All right, we are back, and it is time to talk about the Grey Cup.
I cannot wait.
Oh, it's our most favorite week of the year.
It's like CFL Christmas.
It totally is. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like Christmas comes a month early because we get to have CFL parties all week.
Like when we had featured fan Linda on the show, she said
Yes.
that, the 2 times she was allowed to have pop and chips was Grey Cup and Christmas, and Grey Cup came first.
That's right. Exactly. So that's what you get into.
Yep.
Now let's get the ugly stuff out of the way first. The big game, I guess, is set with the Red Blacks and that other team.
And the Black Reds.
Yes. Now, how they got here. So, Ottawa, played a great game.
That was pretty convincing.
Well,
Trevor Harris did okay.
You know what, though? He doesn't perform in the playoffs.
Nope. Well, to be fair, this is his second playoff game.
Yeah. That sets a record for touchdowns thrown. And
There were several records set.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, he had the best percentage. Mm-hmm. I mean, he only missed, 3 misses?
something like that. Yeah.
Like absolutely crazy. And then, of course, the 6 touchdown passes, which means he is now standing alone. And he passed some pretty elite players.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Russ Jackson. Heard
Yeah.
that name before?
Yeah, Echeverry. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, who? Never heard of these guys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's amazing. And he just seemed to have a real command. You never felt like he didn't have control of his team and the field when he was on it.
Yeah, I agree.
Versus a lot of times you'd see the camera pan to Jeremiah Masoli, and he just looked
almost
tentative.
shell-shocked.
Yeah.
And
this was early.
Yeah.
This is when they still were only down a couple of scores near the end of the first half, which was another story I'm sure we'll be talking about in a little bit. But
you think?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But just almost as much as Hamilton controlled BC, Ottawa controlled Hamilton.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's Hamilton had their big game the week before, and then they just couldn't rebound for this game against Ottawa.
No,
Yeah.
not a chance. And,
Yeah.
and it was just one of those things that you looked at it and thought, even though the score kind of got a little close, I just don't see Hamilton coming back to this one. And
Yeah.
they sure didn't.
No, they sure didn't. Now, let's talk about that play that happened near the end of the first half.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times for Mr. Rose.
The interception with a huge run.
Yeah.
And on the next possession, he hauls a guy down by his head.
Out of bounds.
Yeah, gets up and pushes the ref to get at the guy who pushed him over.
Right.
Now, I totally agree with the disqualification from
no
the game.
question.
It wasn't even close.
You got referees who are not athletes.
No,
and they're not padded.
No, and they're pushed over a bunch of guys who are wearing pads.
Exactly.
And giants. My question to you is, and the CFL hasn't made this decision yet. They might by the time I actually release the podcast. But does he miss the Grey Cup game?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that being disqualified, if he had not been disqualified from the game, then I think that they might have looked at a supplemental discipline. He's going to get his maximum fine, no question.
Oh, no question on that. Yeah.
And he was disqualified from that game, so he missed more than a half of that game. Yes. And I think that they're going to count that as his punishment for that.
Okay. Yeah.
I think if he missed almost a full half of a game, more than a full half of a game, and another game, including the Grey Cup, I think that the CFLPA may challenge it. And if they challenge it, he gets to play.
Then he gets to play, right.
So,
But now, do you think that the CFL may look at, okay, well, we'll suspend him for the first game of next season?
Yeah, that's possible. Absolutely. And it's going to be interesting because what happens if, just as an example, he doesn't play for Ottawa next year?
Right.
So
exactly.
whoever signs him has to know that they're not going to have him for at least the first game.
Yeah, exactly. So it's very interesting, very interesting thing. I know my wife was quite vocal. She's like, well, I want him to sit out and then watch his team win the Grey Cup without him.
Well, what would be interesting is,
yeah,
I'm not sure of the rules on how you get your name on the Grey Cup.
Right.
But if you don't play in the game at all, you don't dress for the game at all, do you qualify? Because that would be a massive punishment at that
Wouldn't
point.
it? Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if you played in the playoffs, because in hockey it's different. If you have to play a certain number of games in the playoffs.
To
qualify to get your name on the Grey Cup.
On the Stanley Cup, yeah.
And the Stanley Cup, which is, hockey's Grey Cup.
That's right, yeah, exactly.
That's what they call it.
Whatever, that other trophy. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
That's not as important.
No, I mean, good Lord. And it's better they're both better than the Lombardi trophy. How the hell do you drink out of that?
Yeah, you don't.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I can't eat my Fruit Loops out of that in the morning. Come on.
Great minds think alike.
It's a paperweight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Good for them. But yeah, I think that'd be just a massive punishment to know that your team won, you don't get your name in the Grey Cup, and that may be your only shot.
You're right. And you may get a ring, but you're not actually getting your name on it. Yeah. I don't know what the rules are there either, but needless to say, I don't think he'll miss the game, but it's almost, I mean, there is precedent. It could go either way because he did push a ref.
Yeah, and again, you just don't do that.
No, it's not okay.
It's not cricket.
Then, that other team, that Calgary defense, they showed up to play.
They sure did. Another record was set in that game as well, with Justin Medlock kicking that 57-yard field goal.
Yes, that's right.
The longest field goal in playoff history. In the CFL.
When our hopes were up.
I know. They were high, but I mean, you started looking, and it seemed like Winnipeg had control early on. Like, they were controlling the line of scrimmage.
Right.
And the game is won and lost in the trenches, and it seemed like, okay, well, the problem is they're only driving for field goals.
That's right.
And you drive the field, kick a field goal. You stop Calgary, you drive the field, kick a field goal. Okay, well, now you're only up by 6 points. They get a touchdown, which they did.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, Calgary's got the lead. And it's like, if you could have scored touchdowns at the beginning, you keep Calgary on their heels and they're not going to play as much,
Right.
But sometimes it's the play of those Canadians.
I don't know that he even actually said that, but it did sound...
Well, apparently he did, but he says it was a nickname.
A nickname totally makes sense.
Yeah, for people born in Canada?
Because that's what we call ourselves. Anyway, that was pretty ugly.
Yeah.
Eric Rogers gets 3 touchdowns in the game. The guy is just a playoff machine.
Yeah, it's just like, by the way, I think I'm healthy.
Yeah, you think?
I think I'm recovered from that injury. And
yeah, perfect. Yeah. Be very interesting to see how that plays out next week. Now, I do want to ask you as well, because we didn't get a chance to talk about this last week. So the extra ref on the field for these games to watch specifically for headshots after the shot to Brandon Bridge.
Yeah, it was great to see Ben Major out there, for an example.
Sure.
In the first game. And we did see a roughly a helmet-to-helmet collision. with
Sure.
Jeremiah Masoli. However, he's the one that instigated it.
He did, yes.
It was a weird thing, but again, that wasn't Major that called it. That was Andre Prue.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad. And many people have said on other podcasts and other broadcasts that we have 2 more players on the field, and we have a much wider field and a longer field. So it makes sense to have more referees than the NFL would have.
Right.
So I think it's just a step in the right direction. I think we need to keep those 8 referees, but I think they need to start really getting to the point where they define what a helmet-to-helmet hit is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the one on Bridge, that was a helmet-to-helmet hit. Yeah, and it was nasty. And you could see on the ref cam how Valesi was completely blocked out from actually seeing what happened, right? Now, granted, there's a whole bunch of other refs. Somebody should have called that. But anyway.
But are some people allowed to, right? Because they're all focused. Right. First of all, you're focused on your assignment as an official. Yeah. And secondly, certain people aren't allowed to call certain things. So that's the issue.
So my question to you is, do you think, though, that they stay with the extra set of eyes and the extra person on the field? Or do they give the power to the eye in the sky to say that, okay, there's a headshot, we need to call it?
I mean, to me, it would make sense because your eye in the sky right now is looking for offsides on either side of the line.
Right.
By the time it gets to a headshot, there's no more worry about offsides.
Right.
So at that point, I mean, if they have a 24, angle kind of thing, then that's very easy, or certainly a lot easier.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, obviously that person's going to need to be trained. We don't know a whole lot about the eye in the sky. Like, who is this person?
True.
What's their qualifications, et cetera, et cetera. If all they do is focus on offsides, I mean, we can train somebody like that in a day, and you're pretty good to go. But if you got 2 guys that are clashing and they go face mask to face mask, is that a helmet-to-helmet hit?
Right.
By letter of the law, I think it is, but I mean, it's not leading with a crown of your helmet, so I don't know.
Right. So, but I still think that, I mean, even if they were going to look at it on replay, I mean, you look at ones like the Brandon Bridge hit.
Oh, yeah, no question.
Like a couple of the ones that Riley took hit this year.
And were upheld under challenge.
Right. So you look at those things and think it doesn't take that long. It's not going to slow the game down that much to have a quick...
Well, especially
the obvious ones.
Especially not Brandon Bridge and Collaros are both rolling around on the field.
Absolutely.
Obviously in distress.
So it's going to take that time anyway. So in that time, review and see if the call is there. They had enough time to throw it
on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and if it was Ottawa, they would have froze it right on the screen when he hit the helmet to helmet. Like, it would have been perfect.
Rocked it back and forth.
So that they made sure that all the fans would go nuts. Yeah.
Synced it up to Black Betty. It would have been... That would be a beautiful thing.
That'd be perfect. Yeah. So, no, I agree. I think that I think there's lots of things there where they should... I think they have the ability to have this eye in the sky. Why don't they use it a little bit?
I agree.
Okay. Yeah. Instead of... I mean, not that I mind having the other guy on the field, but, I mean, use the eye in the sky for specific things that are just... It's not taking a lot of time.
We need to talk to Bud.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Actually, I should talk to him about getting him back in here.
That's right. That'd be
It's nothing about hearing another story about freezing your off. That's what I want. I want him to come back just for that.
As long as we don't experience it ourselves.
That's right. Yeah. No experience. Just the story.
Yes.
I love that. Now, the other thing I wanted to ask you, because of course there's all these people talking about the one division. We need to go to one division.
Now, there's 2 reasons people bring this up. People bring up one division because their team didn't make it, and this year it's the Eskimos.
Of course, yes.
So they say, well, this year we would have, and we could have been the ones that got crushed by Hamilton.
Oh, sure.
Instead of BC.
Could have been us, yeah.
But the one I think that sticks a little more weight is you have teams like, in this case, and this was brought up by Matt Preddy, who was on the show before, he messaged me and said, you have a team that has 39 wins in the last 4 years.
Yes.
And... been to 3 of the 4 West, hosted 3 of the 4 West finals.
East finals.
East finals and the East semifinal for the year they didn't. So
they've
hosted 4 games.
Playoff games. Yeah.
Edmonton has won 6 more games in that span and hosted once. One
game.
playoff game.
Yeah.
And so that's what they're talking about. It's just like, why is it that you have... And again, I'm not saying I agree with this or disagree.
No, absolutely. It's just an interesting talking point.
This is the topic that people are talking is, why do you have someone who's... We don't have to be the best. All we have to do is be better than someone in our weak division. And this year and the last couple of years, it's been the East.
Yes.
There have been years in the past where the West was... I mean, Edmonton's been the number one team at 9-9. This year we missed it, 9-9.
Yeah.
The fifth place team. So
yeah, exactly.
It's hard to argue with those people. My only thing is you have to do what's best for the league, not necessarily what's best for a team or two in the league.
Right.
And if this case, it's just the pendulum has swung to the West very heavily, and the East isn't
and it has
as
been
strong
for a little while. Yeah.
Again, the East isn't as strong by record.
Right.
But if you look at Grey Cup wins,
yeah, exactly.
over the last 4 years, we're 2-2.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
Edmonton, Calgary on one side, Toronto and Ottawa on the other. So,
yeah.
I don't know. To me, it's like, sure, that's an interesting stopping point, but if that's the biggest problem with the CFL, we've got a pretty strong league.
Right. Yeah. And that's really what we want to have. My question, I said this to you on the weekend, is should Winnipeg just petition to go back to the East now until the Atlantic team comes in? Because they would have hosted the East final and likely would be in the Grey Cup.
Entirely possible,
facing Calgary. Like, they had, you know, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best all-around teams. And actually a Winnipeg-Ottawa game would have been unreal.
That's true. Edmonton would have made the playoffs too.
They
would have been the crossover team.
Yeah, exactly. So I just think that would have been very, there's almost the argument to say, okay, well, that's the weaker side. Okay, well, then let's have the fifth team over there. But you don't want to bounce a team back and forth over and over again. But and I know how Winnipeg believes they are part of the West, and
they are.
That's right. They are Western Canada, right?
I mean, technically they're dead center, but you know.
Exactly. But
we don't have a 3-division league yet.
Not yet. No. So, but I just think that's a little bit funny.
Yeah, I think we discussed it a couple of weeks ago, and I can see it. I am not because of tradition, but because I think it makes the league stronger if we have an East versus West matchup. There's still, because we have that crossover that sort of covers the times when you have really weak, like the 1981 Grey Cup we talked about ad nauseum, and we'll talk about again and again and again.
Of course,
it was the greatest team in CFL history.
How do you really feel?
You had a team that was 5-11 make the playoffs when two teams in the West were much better than that and didn't, and that's what that crossover is helping to mitigate. And I think it's enough of a balance right now. I mean, we've never seen a team win the East final from the West.
Right, yes.
And obviously we've never seen an Eastern team even cross over.
Right.
Came close one year, but I think it's good enough as it is right now. Sure, you're going to have those occasional blips. Let's be honest. If Edmonton would have crossed over instead of BC, for example, I think we'd been crushed by Hamilton anyway.
Yeah, well,
they had a number.
We'd have scored more than 8 points, but
possibly.
But yes, it's it would. Yeah, they were going in on a bad note for sure. So yeah. Now speaking of that 10th Atlantic team, we got the announcement at the party coming this week.
Kitchen party.
Yep, the kitchen party on Friday night. They are going to announce the name of the potential team.
The best kept secret ever.
Absolutely. Schooners.
Yeah.
If it's not Schooners,
we're calling them Schooners.
No matter what.
Doesn't matter.
That's right. Yeah. The party was around before the team.
Long before. And they are still undefeated.
Exactly. All right, let's talk about some fun stuff. What are you most looking forward to in Grey Cup week?
You know
it's here. It's in our house.
Yeah, like I do with every Grey Cup that we go to. I've missed the last couple of years, but before that I've been going every year. Is just seeing all the friends that you only see that once a year.
Yeah.
We've together in Winnipeg, we ran to a lot of those people, many of whom have been on this podcast as featured fans and sometimes as players, or alumni or whatever. Or
even for previews, right?
Yeah.
You look at Connie and Lori and all those people that we've had on for previews.
I just love getting together with them. I mean, for events, it'll be a complete non-surprise to everybody that the Alumni Association's luncheon is something that I've been waiting for since the last time it was here in 2010. I've gone to them other cities, and they're fantastic. The 2011 one was in Vancouver, and they got a show.
Yeah.
When Angela Mosca and Joe Cap decided to rekindle old rivalries. I don't know if that was completely scripted or not, because Mosca was a former wrestler, so it may have been a work, not a shoot. But every city that has it, they tend to have the majority of the alumni there are from that team, and this year is no exception. I have seen part of the list. I was lucky enough to get an advance copy of the ones that are confirmed so far, and seeing not only the quarterbacks that we've seen, Tom Wilkinson, Matt Dunnigan, Damon Allen, Ricky Ray has now confirmed, Bruce Lemmerman, all these guys. Unfortunately, I have not heard Moon or Ham have confirmed, but still, pretty solid names. I'm not sure if Jason Moss is going to be there or not. He's going to be in town, hopefully. So But then you see guys like Tommy Scott, Danny Bass, Dave Cutler,
Larry Ruck.
Larry Ruck is going to be there.
So amazing.
Like, just massive names, and other non-Eskimos as well. But the majority are going to be former Eskimos. And for someone that loves Esks history as much as I do, this is an opportunity to be in a room and just soak all of that up. They're going to be wandering around, and they honestly, they love telling old stories.
I am bringing the portable recorder.
Absolutely.
We will have some. We will try, and you and I will catch up with some of these guys. I hope. Yeah. I know Damon Allen. You know, he even responded on Twitter that he would be here, and he loves the Grey Cup. And I'm like, if I could just get 5 minutes of your time, man. Like, that's tell me your impression of the Sally Ran. Like, that's what I want to hear. Like,
Adam Reed is special.
It's I think the Legends Lunch. Let's just put this in perspective. My wife asked me if she should just get some Depends so that I can pee my pants and be okay with it while I'm there.
You don't believe the table that way.
I know, because I'm going to be so. I'm going to be beyond excited.
There's a Brazilian Thai pro tip right there.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brazilian Thai. I need to, you know what? I think the hardest part for me at that is going to be just holding the emotion together.
Sure.
Because these are guys that, have been our heroes for so many years. And to just be able to get that few minutes with them is just going to be amazing.
Yeah, another guy I forgot to mention, Gizmo Williams.
Yeah.
He's going to be there. Yeah. It's almost easier to list people that aren't going to be there than are.
Right.
But there's going to be a lot of speechless moments.
Oh, absolutely.
When you're just sitting in there, because honestly, I don't want to interrupt any of these guys. You're going to tell me a story, I'll happily sit and listen.
I'm just going to listen, but I'm also going to press record on this recorder. If you could just go ahead. Yeah. I'm just listening. That's fine. Yeah.
I'm listening.
Yeah. With your headphones on, it's almost perfect. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So again, that's definitely the highlight for me of all the events going on.
Yeah.
But again, going back to the beginning, my favorite part is just going to be able to see everyone get together with people that I haven't seen in a couple of years, because again, I've missed. There's going to be a little bittersweet moment in just, there was a friend that I would see every year, and we would always make sure to connect, who can't be with us anymore because he was on that Humboldt bus with the crash with Tyler Bieber.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that something fun happens for him at the Tweet Up, because he was a big part of that since it started in 2009.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's going to be lots of good moments like that. I'm really looking forward to the Spirit Breakfast.
Yes.
I really enjoyed my time there last year, so I think this year is going to be fun. As it turns out, I was able to... very generously got 2 tickets for the gala.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
On Friday, and not something that, my wife and I don't usually get to dress up and go out.
Yeah.
And with it being CFL themed, it's like even better. Like it's
Get
just
your green and gold socks.
It's socks for Andrew. I will have those on for sure. And but you know what? I'm just it's going to be a whole different side of it to see. Right. I am sad that I will. I didn't get my response back in properly to be at the meetup. And of course, I'm going to the concert that night too, so it kind of overlaps.
Yeah,
a
you could
little
have maybe
bit
done a
there.
little bit of
So-
both, but it's not the same.
I am hoping that at some point we can run into Brody and get a few minutes with her to chat and kind of get that released out in a podcast as well. So so many things to look for. Of course, at the Spirit of Edmonton, we are lucky enough that we will have some passes to be there, and of course we will have our table.
Yep.
So our table will be running, and we will be recording podcasts from there when we can. I mean, it's going to be very in and out because we all are booked with different things.
We've got so much things to do, yeah.
I kind of get pulled in a lot of different directions, but I am excited for that. But again, all of that brought to you by UCC. So if you happen to see one of the UCC guys going around and you happen to see that they're wearing their stuff, stop and thank them. Thanks for helping us out with the podcast and being such great partners with us, because the more they hear that, the better it is, honestly, for us, and they deserve it. So stop them and say thank you. I just think some of the fun times we're going to have with them is going to be outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, people that have obviously listened to the podcast over the last 12 months, they've been a big part of that.
And absolutely.
Certainly everyone's heard that name, and I hope the UCC themselves get something out of that as well. Those people that have come to the tailgate have definitely experienced the generosity, and they've really been behind us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And believed in the podcast and wanted to, do their part, whatever they could to make it even a little bit better. And you know what? I think that this partnership has been one of the best parts of 2018.
Yeah, I 100% agree. 100% agree. All right, well, I guess we should pick them for this game.
Yes,
sir. Who you got? You have the Red Blacks or the Black Reds?
Yeah, it's true. When they started wearing their uniforms this last weekend, I'm like, really?
You're like, oh, man, it's the same uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Silly.
I'm not sure who to cheer for. I'm going to cheer the team that wears red and black and
Perfect.
white.
Okay.
That's
only one of them, so be careful when you say that.
Well, no, they both have white in their uniform.
I guess.
They have black, they have red.
I guess, yeah. All right, fine.
Honestly, it's hard. Is this going to be like the 1973 4-5 Eskimos, who lost the first two, won the next one, or the 84-56 Hamilton Tiger Cats, lost the first two, won this third Grey Cup? Or is this going to be more like the 54-56 Montreal Alouettes?
I hope so.
Who lost 3 in a row. They are runners-up. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
That's right.
You know what? Trevor Harris had a heck of a game.
Yep, absolutely.
But they don't have the experience that Calgary does. Calgary's been there the last 3 years now.
Well, 2 years. This is their third year. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I've been there certainly 4 times in the last 7 years.
Right. Yes, exactly.
They won in 2014. They were 1 illegal block away from having a fantastic
record, which would be awesome.
Which would have been sweet. But, they got to call those, I guess. This is tough. I really don't want to pick the more experienced and, let's face it, league leading, especially over the last 3 years, Calgary Stampeders.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Trevor Harris take that next step.
Yes, absolutely.
But I don't think so. I think Calgary's going to celebrate a Grey Cup win in Edmonton for the first time, just in time for us to do the same thing in Calgary next year.
Okay. All right. That's fair enough. I am going the other way, but not because I just hate Calgary. I'm going the other way because I really do think if you line up those two receiving cores, that Ottawa's receiving core is better.
Yeah. I mean,
and I think, not that Calgary's is bad. Don't get me wrong. They got to the Grey Cup.
Is Tavares Daniels going to be back?
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe. Maybe. We don't know if he's ready to go or not. If he's ready to go, does that now become a Winston October, John Avery thing? Where you got a guy coming in, he's just to the Grey Cup game, he's a bit rusty, and he's not really, or he's easily re-injured, and then you have an issue. I don't know.
It's
but
tough.
Either way, Eric Rogers is amazing. Don't get me wrong. But I really do think that receiving core in Ottawa is something else. So I'll go with Rick Campbell.
And Leroy Blue and Mark Nelson. Lots of former Eskimo connections there.
And I will sit in the stands and watch, and that is all I will do.
You will politely clap.
Probably not. I will go, oh, well, that was a good play. And then I will go down and enjoy West of Us.
Yes.
That's really who the winner is in this Grey Cup is West of Us.
That's right.
That's right.
That's going to be one heck of a picture.
And then, absolutely. And then I will head over and join up with Jeremy for a while and visit. And then when there's 3 minutes left, if it's close, I'll stay. And if it isn't, then I'll leave. And that's all right. I get to experience the game and know what happened.
To be fair, I think I was pretty ready to leave early the last time I was in Edmonton.
No kidding.
2010. But, you know, it was close still at the end. So we just sort of slowly made our way past all the drunk, shirtless guys with green body paint.
Right, yes.
Which I know never happens.
No.
I don't know, when it's that cold, how do you get that watermelon off your head?
No idea.
That's not my problem.
Yeah, nope. We will never have that problem.
Nope. But at least, you know, we're fairly close to the concourse level.
That's
we're only like 3 or 4 rows down now.
Perfect.
You know what? I enjoy the Grey Cup. I just enjoy watching football. I enjoy the Canadian game itself. And this is the epitome of Canadian football. Like, this is the pinnacle.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I'm always happy to see it. And if your prediction is right, I'll be happier still.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. I'll find a way to kind of be happy about that. All right.
Calgary losing, I can always find a way to be happy about that.
Yeah, I know. It's the other part. Anyway. All right. Well, thank you again, Superfan.
Yeah.
Where does everybody find you on the Twitters?
They can find me at 56Parkies.
Lovely. And posting all of your selfies this week at Grey Cup.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great time.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a ton of photos posted, I'm sure.
Yes.
Another pro tip: make sure you have a little portable battery because
It's
your
probably a good
phone will be running out, or at least a cable, so you can plug it into the Spirit.
That's a good point.
Get a long extension cord because everyone else is gonna want that same.
I really need to learn how to do that. Yeah. Okay, I'll figure that out.
There we are.
Right. You can find me at Freepalicious. Of course, you can find the show at Esk Empire Pod. Thank you again to our sponsor, United Construction Company, as we've mentioned a few times.
You bet.
Check out their website at unitedconstruction.ca. You down with UCC?
Yeah, you know me.
I wanted to say it finally. Make sure, of course, you find us and all of our social channels on eskempire.ca. We will be back in the off season as there is more Esks news. We may do one next week just to kind of wrap up Grey Cup. I think we will do one next week.
We're going to see how we feel after this last week.
Well, you know what, though? I think we got to wrap up how Grey Cup week was. It might be not next week, it might be the week after.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. Okay. But of course, we want to talk any Esks news that does come out. And of course, watch during the Grey Cup week. We will try and put out some single episodes, either with these alumni or with other CFL people if we get the chance. Possibly with some of these other podcasters are going to be featured on the amazing CFPN Podcast Network trading cards. Find your favorite podcaster and grab your set of cards. So are we ready for Grey Cup week?
Absolutely.
Sociable. Lovely. For Commissioner Kayla and Superfan Mike, I'm Andrew. Remember, you can't catch footballs with your face, and we will absolutely see you this week in Edmonton.
Thanks for listening. Find more great shows like this at CF Pod Network on Twitter.